everyone doing? Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, depending on where you are watching this today or tonight again. Hope you had a good week. A lot of things, trying to think if a lot of things happened this week. There's always news, of course, because we're living in the middle of a pandemic, so there's definitely always some things to talk about regarding that. But anyway, I hope everyone feels okay and everyone's safe. Again, I know that I'm repeating myself every week, but once again, I want to thank everyone that is supporting this show. The support has been really amazing. So every day, pretty much almost every day, I receive messages saying, "Yeah, it's great. What are you doing?" So thank you very much for that, and it's because of you that the channel is growing. So it's all because of you. So thank you once again. What else do we have today? So the thing that has been passing in the beginning of the show for the past maybe 3 or 4 weeks. I think probably today is the 4th week. Very soon I'll be able to reveal. So if you want to know what's coming, please go to complarevfx.com and register yourself there. And very soon you'll know what's gonna happen and how it's gonna happen. If you do so, check your spam folder, because probably there's a chance, although small, but there's a chance that probably the reply that you'll get from me will go into the spam folder. So definitely check the spam just to see if it's actually what happened. If not, everything's fine, and soon I'll be able to reveal what's coming. All right. So also, as I said last week, we have now official merchandising available. If you want to support the show, this is a great way to do so, and you also have something physical apart from just supporting the show. That you can keep and be part of what I call the tribe, and you know, it's a great way to support the show, I would say. And today, as we did last week, we also, and the bot already mentioned that because I saw that, we also gonna have another giveaway. You know, it's gonna happen by the end of the show, but this is actually our second giveaway. The last one was yesterday. But that doesn't mean that now every day we're going to have a giveaway, okay? That's not going to happen, all right? Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. But it will happen once in a while, okay? I think we reached that point at the moment, and I think it's always a good thing to, you know, another way for me to thank you guys for the support. And today it's going to be another one. It's going to be a great one. Not the same as last week. So if you want to be eligible for that, just type on the chat, I feel lucky, as the bot already mentioned, I believe, and you'll be eligible to win the giveaway today. Okay, it's going to be just one today. All right. So pandemic updates. Definitely, second wave continues. Unfortunately, this is you know, we've been talking about this for the past, I don't know, from the actual beginning of the show that. This probably would happen, and it's here. It's the very beginning. We were not only in the we didn't reach yet the winter time, which is always, according to specialists, not me saying, I don't know any of that, but according to specialists, that's that complicate things a bit. But we'll see how things will turn out, and because of this beginning of the second wave. Different countries around the world, but especially in Europe, because the you know, this is actually affecting Europe more. And again, we already have seen this movie before. Countries are basically adopting different versions of lockdowns, whether they're more local or more generic. Countries are already doing that. UK, unfortunately, is in a pretty bad shape, going into higher tiers. From the last week, every day pretty much there's a different part of the country that goes into higher tiers, into a higher tier, and it's actually starting from the north of the country, but it seems like there's, you know, it's progressing down. So we'll see what happens and what's going to happen actually in London. Other countries, for example, France, continue with mandatory curfew after 9 p.m. Either 9 or 8, I believe it's 9. I spoke with some close friends a couple of days ago that live there, and they confirmed this to me. So situation there, even though some people, and this friend of mine, it's actually one of these people, they go into the offices, not every day, either once or twice a week, but they go. But apparently they have like really strict rules to do so. But yes, that's happening in my country, Portugal. The cases continue on the rise. Portugal is actually close to, I believe, 3K a day, 3,000 infections a day, which is, mind-boggling. Honestly, in a country so small as Portugal, it's very concerning. And actually, by the way, from today, masks in the streets are going to be mandatory for around 3 months today in Portugal, and like other countries are also following that. And I think unfortunately this will happen in every single country almost, I believe. Spain also started the mandatory curfew either today or yesterday, very recently. So again, we've seen this before. This is not news. We've seen this trend before. We've seen this behavior before, and I still believe that new lockdowns are coming, not only in London, not only in the UK, but all around the world. I hope I'm wrong, as I've been saying from the very beginning. I really hope I'm wrong. I haven't been wrong, unfortunately, until now, but I really hope I'm wrong. So we'll see what will happen. Yeah, not the best situation. What else do we have? Some delays on the vaccine as well. It seems like there was a false, I think it was yesterday, false setback in the vaccine, and I think it was from that company in Oxford, because one of the people that took the vaccine died, but apparently it was not. It was part of the group that was taking the placebo and not the actual vaccine. So he died apparently from COVID-19 complications, but he was actually part of the group that took the placebo. So the tests will continue. So that's why I was saying it's a false setback, because it turns out it's not a setback at all. But yeah, that's what we have. But I'm sorry to hear that another person died, of course, but it turns out it seems like it's not because of the actual vaccine that was being tested. What else? So VFX industry related in terms of the pandemic, I'm noticing like a continuation of these up and downs in terms of hiring and people becoming available. So I'm really not sure what's. It seems to me that some productions are starting, but at the same time that this seems that's what's happening. The truth is, we are also reading that some productions, the crew of some productions, are being tested positive, because that's what's happening, unfortunately, around the world. And of course, crew people, whether they're actors or whoever, can be affected by this. And because of some of these crew people are being tested positive, productions are put on hold. So that's why I'm saying it seems like it's a mixed bag of situations in here. On one hand, it seems like some productions are ramping up. At the same time, is it really gonna be like that for the existing productions at the moment? I don't know. Some projects are actually relying more on virtual productions to avoid going outside so much, and also there's many other advantages on that front, of course. But yes, that's what's happening. And actually, one of the projects that are actually doing that as well, it's Batman, apparently. So they're using virtual production techniques to avoid that. And I remind everyone that the crew on that project was actually one of the ones that tested positive for coronavirus, and I think he was actually the main actor. Okay, unfortunately, but it seems like he's recovered, so that's a good thing. Technical highlight of the week. This time we're going to do actually something. I'm going to highlight something a little bit different, which is I mean, it's still technical, all right? It's still technical, but it's technical in a different way because it's in a funny way. So this was actually sent by one of our viewers, Igor, and it's basically a very funny Instagram page that maybe some of you already know, by a guy called Mateus Krastek. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. I'm really sorry. But he's a senior compositor at Rising Sun Pictures in Australia. And it's basically a page called Useless Comp Things. So I'm sure if you put useless comp things on Instagram, you'll be able to know what I'm talking about. But in any way, I'll put as usual the link available to you. It's very, very funny, very technical as well, but very funny. I think you're gonna like it. And thank you, Igor, for sending that over the other day. And that's it for the intro. Okay, let's see how's everyone doing in here. I believe that we have a few messages already, which is always great to see. So people from Barcelona, Taiwan are watching this, Portugal as well. Hello, Katia, once again. And again, I remind everyone, as the pot is saying, that we're going to do another giveaway, and I think you're going to like it. So if you want to be eligible to win the giveaway, just type "I feel lucky," one word, and you'll be able to be eligible for that giveaway starting now. Okay, so start typing that to become eligible for that. I hope everyone's doing okay. We're gonna have today. It's been a while last time that we had the tech challenge. So I thought this was actually a good time to have another one. It's been, as I said, it's been a while. So we're gonna have another one today. I'm not gonna take the same people as winners, although they are most welcome, more than welcome actually, to participate if they want. But the goal is to have other people participating, and the winner this time will not only will be able to participate live in the show if he or she wants to, but he or she will also win a piece of merchandise. Okay, so this is one of the new things that we have now. Some people are buying merchandising, official merchandising, which I thank you publicly to all of you. Thank you so much. But that's the new prize, and it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Okay, so let's do the giveaway now. Let's set out the challenge, not the giveaway. Wait a second, I misspoke. Okay, not the giveaway. The giveaway will happen at the end of the show. What I'm talking about is the tech challenge. Okay, so let's open the tech challenge for today right now. Okay, so here's the tech challenge. Okay, so we have this picture, but this is actually the after. Okay, this is actually the after, because before it was like this. Okay, so the goal is to come from this to this. Okay, with a few rules, and this is actually something that normally it's more related with paint jobs, roto and painting tasks, but not only. Sometimes in comp we also have to do that, and other things as well related to this. But this is actually something that everybody should know how to do that. But there's actually a few rules in here, and of course this is a still image, but the technique has to be valid for a moving picture, of course. Okay, so you see that there's some. This is not a paint job. Okay, so paint jobs are not accepted in the challenge. And actually, let me put the rules in here. Okay, so there's no grid warps, not accepted. No spline warps, not accepted. No paint jobs, as I just mentioned. No plugins. Only ST maps if you want. The grain, it says grain, but it should be grain. Okay, the grain should be intact. So the grain has to be completely intact. Okay, I just changed that now. And it has to affect only the area in which is needed. So you cannot affect the other parts of the area. Okay, so these are the rules, and this challenge will be also available as usual in our Discord server. Okay, so that's exactly where you server and specific channel for it, by the way. So that's exactly where you should submit your answers. And again, I remind everyone that the prize is a piece of merchandise, and the usual, which is if he or she, if the winner would like to participate in the show live, it will be open the possibility to do so, which was always my intention. Okay, is to open up the show not only for the guests that I come up with, but also to everyone that would like to participate. Okay, so again, no grid warps, no spline warps, no paint jobs, no plugins, only SD maps. The grain has to be intact, and it has only to affect the area. I'm gonna show you a different view in here regarding this stuff that we're talking about. You see that, you know, this is not a paint job. This has to follow some elasticity from the actual skin, okay? And you'll see that if you use SD maps to this type of jobs, you'll see the advantages on doing so. And that's exactly why I'm saying that spline warps and grid warps are not accepted, because I would like you to just do that with the SD maps. Okay, so again, no massive stretching. You see that this is not like a patch or anything like that. Actually, paint jobs are not accepted, as I've just mentioned, and it has to have a sense of elasticity from the actual skin. Okay, and again, this is a still image, as of course we can see, but this has to be a technique in which it will be still valid for a moving picture. Okay, let's see what everybody thinks of this. How are you feeling, guys, about this challenge? Do you think it's a good one? I have to say that it's not easy to come up with these things, I have to say. Okay, in terms of like having the idea. But anyway, this will be related in some way with our guest, okay, that we're gonna present next. So I think it's time for, I think everybody's ready. Amaro is saying that he feels lucky, so he wants to be eligible to win the prize. And again, that's exactly what you should do. You should do exactly what Amaro is doing, which is just type "I feel lucky" and you'll be eligible to win the prize. It's going to be a different one from the previous week, but he's also saying that he's ready for the challenge. I want to see that, Amaro. Okay. All right, guys. Let's now meet our guest. Let me put the headphones now. Okay. And we're gonna see who's on the other side this time. I think it's someone that you all know, probably not by name, but it's actually it will be someone that represents something that you actually know what I'm talking about. Okay, so without further ado, let's use on the other side. All right, see you in 2 seconds. Yeah, Roman. Hey, how you doing, man? Thank you for coming in. Thank you for coming in.
Hello, hola, привет, ciao, salut.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course, man. Of course. Thank you so much for coming in. By the way, you were waiting for a while, Roman, is because I pressed the wrong button. And another thing, apart from the actual separated, another thing showed up, which is the thing that I showed in the beginning. So sorry about that. It will be edited out, so don't worry about that. All right. But once again, Roman, thank you for coming in. Usually appreciate it. You coming in. So of course, Roman, as you can see, it's the founder of Keen Tools that we all know and appreciate on our daily lives in compositing. And I'm sure there's a lot of questions that people will have for you. We'll see what they will be in a second. And by the way, I remind everyone, if you guys have questions for Roman, please start typing them now, and we'll be able to read them as much as we can. Okay, so of course, as I said, the great majority of people in VFX, particularly in compositing, knows, and they're aware of what Keen Tools are. Probably they never came across with your name before, even though you also have your own YouTube live show, and I would like to talk about that as well. But in any case, you want to present yourself to the audience, Lapit Pena.
Okay, actually, there's not so much to present about me. I'm a founder and researcher at Kintools, and currently a managing director. And basically, that's it.
And
And
you're
probably
based, tell us where you are, by the way.
uh, we are all based in St. Petersburg, Russia. And yeah, it's Friday evening here. So
Yeah, we are
probably
two hours apart.
It's the best way to spend Friday evening to chat with you guys.
Thank you so much. And as I was saying, of course, everyone, I believe, or everyone that is watching this show, either live or not live, knows about, of course, Kintools. And I still remember this was maybe 5 years ago or something. Time flies, but I think it was around 5 years. Tell me if I'm wrong or not. The first time that I came across with the beta release of the tool, one of the tools, the first initial tool that you put on Nukepedia. So it was around 5 years ago, right?
Yeah, around 5 years.
Around 5 years, so I'm right. Yeah.
The first thing that we released on Nukepedia called Ping Tool, and it's still a free node in our bundle, and it's like a transform geo, but that works based on projection. And yeah, I still think that it's really handy tool for everybody. It's something that could be bundled right inside Nuke out of the box.
For sure. Cool. And my first question is, because this was 5 years ago, and it's only 5 years for a digital product that came from nowhere, really. It grew so fast and so much, and I want to talk about that as well with you. But let's go to the beginnings of the whole thing, which is, how did you come up with the idea of doing something like that?
Well, usually people associate idea with something like a bulb that's shining near the head, but in our case, it was just it came up from a huge pain, because we had a movie that was like 500 shots. And we are really small team of 4 people have to make lots of different effects, but all of them were based on some object tracking. And we decided to shorten our process as much as it possible, and we created a rough prototype of the first geo tracker for tracking of all these objects right inside Nuke, because we decided, because it's really handy when you see the result and can change tracking right looking at the result.
Yeah,
because otherwise
you have a response.
Yeah, because otherwise you have different steps, like tracking step and then compositing step.
Yeah,
and it's pretty long process, because if something goes wrong, you have to open other application or ask somebody from other department or something like this, please fix it, and then re-export, re-import, and you can lose really lots of time working like this. And
for sure.
That's why it's cool to have everything on tip of your fingers, and you can manipulate tracking. And sometimes, for example, you don't need exact tracking on some parts of the footage. And also we decided that only you as a compositor understand it, and that's why we decided to integrate into Nuke. It was the idea, the primary idea, for speed up the process. We then failed the deadline, And we created it 500 shots, not in 3 months, but in 4 months. But we still managed to track everything successfully,
Yeah.
much faster than all other alternatives at that moment.
No doubt, and I even go further than that. Not only it's way faster, you also have the ability, as you just mentioned, that you are actually the one doing things and changing things, and you'll see an immediate result of the changes that you're doing to the thing that you need. You're not just like relying on someone else, and we all love our colleagues, and that's besides the point. But if you can have like the flexibility of using something just that it's there for you and get the results that you want, not only faster, but in a lot of cases better. I dare to say, right? I'm sorry.
Hopefully.
I'm sorry to say
and
that.
it's cool that you said it, not me.
No, listen, it's true. It's true. For some situations, it's true. Because especially, when you want to map things with the actual, features of someone else's face, it's a tool that, it's so it's there for you. I don't have any other way to describe it. It's there. It's available for you. It's easy and fast to do whatever you need to do. So great, just great. And yes, in a lot of cases, can be better. And there's no harm on saying this. I don't think other departments are still hugely important to do a lot of other things. I'm not taking anyone's value out of by just saying this. Quite the opposite. It's all about optimization of processes as a group, right? But regarding that, did you have a strategy at the time to release this product, or you were more like, listen, let's release this beta version and let's figure out how the rest goes? How was
Honestly,
that?
At the very beginning, it all started from the interest, and me personally, I had no particular plans on some monetization or something like this. At some point, I thought that we actually developed everything pretty integrated into Nuke using Nuke native SDK, and if you open our nodes, they actually feels like native Nuke instruments. And at some point, we thought that probably we could collaborate with Foundry on it, but there were some delays and so on, as usual, and even before the actual collaboration, we managed to release the first version, and I was surprised how popular it was starting from the day one.
You were surprised, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. And for
That's
me,
funny.
it was like we were lot, and they just don't have the accurate models of actual actors' faces.
Yeah.
Because I always thought that it's just so easy to scan it, then retopologize it, and then use it for production. But it appeared that it's not that easy. And that's why we created Face Builder to create facial models based on several photos, on even one photo. And then we understood that we know how to create face tracker to track not only the movement of the face, but also all facial deformations and expressions. And we have tons of plans, and for now, I look if I look back into the very beginning, of course, I didn't have such plans at that moment.
But that's very interesting, because it seems like the actual way, the actual way is actually designed in front of your eyes, right? You don't have any plans, but then depending on the response, the things will be drawn, and you follow this path or that path depending on things are being received. But it's interesting that you didn't have any plans, and you were not even thinking apparently about monetizing that product, which is I dare to say crazy, because it's just such a good product. But you end up like monetizing it at some point, which is I'm glad that you did so, because it's a great idea. And sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just think that any such project usually don't have a clear strategy at the very beginning.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
For instance, the Nuke, the Foundry Nuke, and it's now called Foundry Nuke, but when it's just started in digital domain, nobody thought how it will be monetized. Right. I'm pretty sure about it.
You're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. But speaking of having ideas and all of that stuff, and it all starts with an idea, right? It all starts with an idea. Whether you had this idea while you're having some fun with your friends, or you were working and you had the needs on developing something at that very moment, and then you took it somewhere else. But a lot of people have a lot of ideas. This is the truth. A lot of people have a lot of ideas, but only a very small group of people take those ideas to the next step, right? What and do things more serious about with that same idea as you just did. And what do you think? Because there's many different reasons why people don't put the effort on developing certain ideas further. But what would you say to these people in terms of what's the steps that it involves? If there's someone watching that would have a great idea but doesn't know how to go to the next step on actually creating a product that people will actually like and eventually monetize on that.
Well, first of all, let's talk about the idea. There is no big or great idea in creating object tracker. Yeah. Because even now, let's say there's no KinTools. If I say, "Hey guys, I come up with the idea of creating object tracker in Nuke," everybody gonna say you are crazy. There are different software, different pieces of software that do exactly the same. Like here, 3D equalizer, here pftrack, here Synthesize, and you just. There's nothing new in this idea.
Yeah.
And even if I say, "Oh, it will be integrated into Nuke," there will be ton of different criticism about it.
Yeah.
And the first thing when you have an idea, it's to be brave enough to say that you want to implement this idea. Because it's just not enough to have idea, but it's also important
to put the work, basically.
Not only put the work, but also, first of all, you try to verify your idea. You speak with different people, and many of them say that this idea is total bullshit. And
yeah, you're right. You're right.
And and to implement this idea, you have to have the proper skills, and it's a pretty unusual case when the idea meets the skills, and that's the problem. Because and that's why it's great to share all your ideas, because it's so small chance that the proper idea meets with somebody who can implement it, that it's really great to share all your ideas. And please never worry about that somebody will steal it, because if somebody can steal it, it will still tough to implement it and just implement it better. Because when you implement something the second time after somebody, of course you can implement it much better.
Yeah, that's a very positive message, because a lot of people probably refrain to share a lot of things, and actually with this show I'm trying to pass the message of the opposite, which is share what you know, because great things will come out of it. So you know, thank you for saying that in a different way regarding software development in this case. But I'm sure you're taking not only that message, or you're not saying only that message regarding software development, but you're expanding that to other situations as well, I'm sure. So very positive message, and I'm 100% with you. To not to say the least, to not say 200%.
Yeah, but, so yeah, sharing is caring.
There you go. There you go. That's right. That's right.
And the next, so in my particular case, I had a skill.
Yeah.
And I had different skills. So first of all, I was a VFX compositor. So I know VFX. I knew VFX industry. At the same time, I had a degree in computer science, and that's why for me it was like a combination of these two different skills.
For sure.
But what is also important, I had an experience in running business and working with small teams.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to find just awesome students that were enlightened by this idea, and they wanted to implement it.
Cool. Very good.
So it's not just me who created it.
Yeah, because that was actually my second question, which is, when did you come up with the team? And if it was difficult to let go or share or delegate something that it was so dear to you, and be able to do that and to share and delegate, as I just said, to other people. Was it difficult? You just mentioned that it's actually part of your way to go about things, so probably it was something that you were already used to, but it's important, as you just mentioned, and I agree with you, to have other people working with you, because a lot of times there's only so much you can do by yourself, and if you can have other people helping you, and if they share the same, goal, I would say the same goal as you, and want to be part of that team, that's always a good thing. Without being afraid of anything, you don't need to be afraid of things like that.
Yeah, actually, I can't even say that they helping me. Probably I helping them, or we help each other. Yeah, the team is a key for creating an awesome product.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And as I said in the very beginning, the whole thing grew quite fast, because we're talking about the first release was around 5 years, and now pretty much I dare to say pretty much every company have that implemented in their studios. At least from my experience. At least from my experience.
Almost all companies except Chinese companies. We just have no contacts with them.
Okay.
For completely different market for us, and probably there is a big language barrier or something like this, and yeah. So if, by the way, some of our listeners knows how to approach Chinese companies,
there you go.
We are always welcome. Cool. Any suggestions.
There you go. Cool. So you know how to reach Roman. I'm sure it's very easy. Find Roman in Facebook, for example. So if you want to give some ideas to Roman, please use Facebook, or any other medium that probably Roman will tell you about, how to get in touch with the team, or with him personally speaking. But as I was saying, the whole thing grew quite fast and quite a lot, right? So we're talking about 5 years, and it grew quite a lot. And my question is, because I have like a background in sales as well, because when I have a background in engineering, and as an engineer, I worked in construction sites, but I also worked in the sales side of things as well. what was called at that time sales engineering. Okay, it's it's actually a real term, but yes, it's a funny one. But how important were conventions PR wise to sell your product? I'm talking about, of course, FMX, SIGGRAPH, and all of those things. Because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you were present at some of them, right?
Yeah, we were at FMX and SIGGRAPH as well. And well, the show itself probably is not enough to pay off it. But usually we go to show if there are some companies in the area. For instance, there was a SIGGRAPH in Vancouver, and unfortunately, I was the only one from my team who managed to get visa to Vancouver.
Yes.
So I went to Vancouver. It was 3 days of SIGGRAPH, and I was alone in a booth. But I've arranged lots of meetings, and the following week I visited like probably 12 or 13, probably 13 studios around the Vancouver.
Cool, pretty good.
It was like, and in that terms, so I'd say that shows it's just a beginning.
Of course, yes. It's the foot on the door, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. So, and also it's just actually some reason for traveling to some region, because otherwise probably I've never have enough reasons to come to Vancouver, for example. Or FMX. FMX is just brilliant show in the middle of Europe in Stuttgart, and it's much smaller, but at the same time the level of communication in terms of VFX is I'd say probably the same like in SIGGRAPH, but everything is more intense. And FMX, there's a letter F, which is about film, and SIGGRAPH is more about general graphics and so on. There are lots of about gaming, about some other stuff, but FMX is more about films and VFX in particular. And I'd say that I really enjoyed it. And but for example, this year the SIGGRAPH supposed to be in Washington, and honestly, I can't say that there are lots of studios in Washington.
Yeah, I never heard of that city, so yes.
And that's why we decided last year not to take part this year. Actually, nobody took part, but that's
of course it makes total sense. Yes, if there's not a strong enough reason, of course, that makes sense.
But speaking about all these meetings with different studios, it's not sales meeting, to be honest. It's more about just speaking with compositors, speaking about what they need, what pipelines they have, and so on. And actually right now we also open to have a kind of a presentation and discussion with any studio to chat about our solutions and so on, and tracking in general. And so it's more about getting feedback.
Yeah, exactly, which is usually important, because you're doing a product for these people, right? So you need to know exactly what's the response and what other things they would like to have, right?
Yeah. So speaking about marketing, and brand, I'd be happy to say that we are a brand that just don't have marketing. I mean that we have kind of a bottom-up approach. So we really enjoy chatting with compositing artists and understand their needs. And then I do believe that they will come to their supervisors or producers and say, we need this for this upcoming show, for example, and so on. And that's it.
Yep.
So that's our strategy, and it works. And we don't have any salesperson, for instance, in our team.
That's a refreshing way to look at things. Yes, because as you say, it's the other way around almost, right? It's almost the other way around. You go from bottom up, which is yeah, it makes sense if you think about it.
So probably somehow, and I know that in VFX, lots of different instruments basically have a different approach. They have lots of different connections with heads of different departments and studios, and they sell differently. We do it from actual needs, and as I can see at the moment, it works.
Yeah, I would say too, because as I said, pretty much every studio, apart from the Chinese market, apparently, have that implemented. So yes, I would say that it's a story of success in terms of the approach, for sure. But one thing that I didn't know when I was researching for this interview, yes, because people, I prepare for these interviews, okay? This is not like out of the blue. I don't prepare too much because I want to be, as natural as possible, but there's always some preparation involved, of course. And one thing that I didn't know is that you actually work with data science, which makes total sense if you think about it. And one thing that I would like to ask you about that is, given the fact that, the VFX world is seeing an exponential growth in with techniques like that, with deep learning and artificial intelligence, more generically speaking. How do you see the future of VFX in that regards? Because you have first-hand experience, not only with the product that you've implemented, but you also work with data science generically. So how it would be interesting to know your take on these things.
Well, I think that first of all, it's all pretty organic in terms of so more. I know that people, lots of different people, afraid of having no work because of artificial intelligence will do everything for them.
We already mentioned this actually last week.
Yeah. And honestly, of course, lots of different stuff that we do now on everyday basis is like just a routine that should be automated.
Yep.
At some point, for example, I do hope that we won't have a kind of a layout artist, for example, because everything will be automatically created just automatically. And all this stuff like, for example, tracking. Now, for example, if you track something with GeoTracker, now you have to work with the tool, but the final idea is to have it automatic. But at the same time, everything is very well balanced in the world, and in the world of VFX as well. So when you can automatically create some effects, they will be created everywhere in every YouTube video, any let's say smartphone or something.
Yeah.
Then people will need different kind of effects, and artist will create this different kind of effects. It's like saying that photography will kill artists. No, never.
Yeah.
And
that's an interesting comparison, that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just moving the baseline, and
exactly.
That's why, of course, we will do different kind of work in several years. Surely, but at the same time, I believe that we will like plenty of different tasks, and there will be just different tasks. And what probably is more important here is that there will be more interesting tasks than now.
There you
because
go.
like For example, like 30 years ago, there was an editor with scissors and trying to put all this stuff. But now we can do it in Adobe Premiere or Final Cut, and it will be much faster. And of course, there is no such job now, but we still do movies, and we do more movies.
Yep.
So my bet is that we actually gonna have bigger industry, bigger number of jobs, and so on.
Yeah.
So
that was basically what I've been saying as well. But it's refreshing to and good in all friends to hear an opinion of someone that actually works with data science, because a lot of people, as you just mentioned, not a lot of them, but some people are kind of afraid about what's going to happen with their jobs. But my take overall is, some jobs that are repetitive, yes, they will be taken care of with artificial intelligence, but I think it's something that everyone will welcome, because nobody likes to do repetitive stuff. They like to add the human value to stuff, not to do repetitive, wow, that's a strong word, repetible stuff. So I think artificial intelligence in general will, as just Roman said, will create more and not less. It will not be a menace, but it will be actually a good thing to have on everyone's side, because it will, as you just mentioned, it will move the baseline. So you will start on a much higher level regarding everything, visuals, speed, everything. And I think it's always a good thing to have, not a bad thing to have. So that's also my take on that thing. But how do you divide? It's actually a curiosity that I have. How do you divide your time as a data scientist and taking care of KineTools? How do you do that? How do you balance that?
Oh, well, first of all, I have to say that I'm not a data scientist.
Okay.
Because I'm doing tools, and currently I'm working on making Kotlin programming language suitable for data science. And
okay, got it.
So currently there are two languages, Python and R.
Yeah.
But Kotlin is also a great language, and we believe in its bright future in data science as well. And
that's interesting. So you're basically trying to build something that is going to be a competitor for data science in the same way that Python and R is or are at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of I'm doing tools in KineTools, and I'm doing tools for data scientists as well.
Cool.
So probably it's all that we have in common. And how I managed to
balance these two worlds.
Well, I just have 48 hours per day.
You have the double in comparison with all of us, right? But I'm sure you have to have more hours in a day than the majority of people, for sure.
And I also just don't sleep enough.
So there you go, people. If you want to develop things and still be on the front line of of developing your own, not only developing your own stuff, but being on the front line of technology, that's the way. You can't sleep as much, and we have to make out of 24 hours, you have to make 48.
But speaking about positive things, working on some, for instance, now at KineTools, we are working on adding different landmarks, for example, facial landmarks and so on. So we actually, at KineTools, there are lots of different data science stuff inside.
For sure. That's what I was saying. It makes total sense when you think about it. I didn't know that you worked with data science, but when you think about it, it makes total sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's actually just like on the one hand, I'm working on tools for data scientists. On the other hand, I'm data scientist itself. So it's like a dogfooding approach when you try your own tools and to work using them and so on.
Yeah.
And that's helps me to create better tools.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can imagine from point of view of someone who also develops tools, but not.
So basically, the same story with Kintools itself, because we used it for our tasks.
Exactly. Yeah, of course. And speaking of Kintools, there's actually a new release, right? That has some new things. Do you want to talk about those?
Well, I'm always happy to talk about Kintools and new releases. Why not? But honestly, we are working on the new release right now, and the upcoming release will bring a lot of improvements, like whole bunch of new stuff that gonna be really handy. And probably at this point I won't announce it, so let's talk about the last release.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah. Don't give that away. Okay, cool. So in terms of all these releases and all new features and all that stuff, you are actually creating or hosting your own live show, right? Which is something that happens, I would say, maybe every month now, something like that.
Once every something month? Like that. Actually, we have 2 different streams, one in Russian and one in English. And actually, just because for me English is not a native language, and that's why for me it's much easier to first try everything in Russian stream, and then using the experience from it, create the next week run the English one. So yeah, basically that's why for me it's much it's like once in 2 weeks, but for English streams once a month. Yeah. And actually we shared a guest between us in the same day. People don't know that, but when Victor Perez was a guest on this show, he was actually a guest on Roman's show like a couple of hours before or something. So he went from one to another straight away. And I was asking him actually at that time, listen, but are you okay doing that? Yes, I'm all right. It's like speaking with friends. So he was like very friendly as usual. But yes, we shared that guest at the same time. So it was like 2 or probably 3 hours. We were playing with our new and still not released stuff with tracking full bodies, and it was pretty intensive and really interesting, and I enjoyed it a lot. And when I saw your live stream in recording, and I was completely exhausted after the show.
I can imagine, yes.
And after that, I looked, wow, Victor, how you do it? You are just a super machine.
Yeah, that's what I told him as well. And I was, I really told him, listen, you don't need to do this today if you don't like. You must be exhausted. But it was so nice, and it's great, and it was a great guest. Of course, yeah, everything went really well. People, by the way, if you have questions for Roman, this is actually the way or the time, the right time to put them on our chat so we can read them all as soon as we can. And another question that I have for you, Roman, while we wait for other people's questions, if they have some, is the following. Because a lot of people, and actually one of the reasons why this show was born was to give people new things to think about with the technical stuff that I show, fresh approach to different things, because I believe that this is a time in which you should invest in yourself, because everything is pretty much on pause. If you lost your job, or if you're looking for your next gig or something, this is actually a great way, I believe, a great time for you to learn new things. And since you're a software developer that, of course, always looking into ad innovation and optimization and all that stuff, what will be the message for people that have all these ideas, but they normally don't have time to practice or to put them in practice if we were not living into this pandemic. Do you also believe that, or you share this view with me, that this is a great time to put the work into develop all these ideas that different people might have?
Well, I believe that any time is a great time for investing into yourself.
Yeah.
Not only pandemic time, not only so you just have to understand two main laws. I believe that first is that everything is changing, and the speed of these changes are higher, is higher and higher. So it means that if you know something right now, in several years it means nothing. And just try to remember how many people you know after, for example, 50 years who works now in the industry near you. There are not a lot of them.
Yeah.
And it's not because there were no people in film industry before. It's just because they just didn't manage to adapt to new reality.
Yeah.
And in case when you don't invest in your personal education, you just be probably in really hard situation pretty soon.
Yeah.
And the other idea is that if for some reason you think there will be a more comfortable time for learning, most likely there won't be such a moment, because the comfortable time for learning is right now. You always have to find a way to get new ideas, to get new skills, and because tomorrow never happens.
I couldn't agree with you more.
The problem is that you are often under some deadlines and so on, and you have a tons of things that you had to do even yesterday, but they are still actual. And the only way to find a way for you is just add it somehow to your scheduler and split your time, and that's it. Probably that's the only way how to find a time for you.
Totally agree.
For yourself,
Totally agree. Listen, this is not the best comparison, but this is, I don't know if you have kids or not, Roman, but I have one kid. And for people that have kids, they know what I'm about to say is true. There's never a good time for you to become a dad, for example, or a mother, okay? Because, it's always a big effort, regardless you're in the best position professionally speaking or personally speaking. It's always an effort, and you have to, if you want to do that, you'll do it. And the same with learning. It's not the best comparison, I know, because we're talking about things and people, but there's actually a comparison that we can establish, I believe. Anyway, so it's time for actually the giveaway, and the giveaway will be, I'll let Roman set out the giveaway. What is the giveaway, Roman?
Well, today we're gonna raffle one personal license for any of our products.
Cool! Look at that. How generous is that from Roman? Pretty cool, right? Okay, so we still have people eligible here. Everything is just the same. Okay, I'm not entirely sure if some of the people are still with us in the chat. I'm assuming that they are, but even if they are not, they will still be winning, okay? Because otherwise it wouldn't be fair, all right, for something that is a technical problem. So let me open the giveaway, and then we're going to raffle that prize in just 1 sec. Okay, Roman, I'll let you say roll it, and I'm gonna roll it, okay?
Roll it.
Yay! Cedric won the giveaway today. So, congratulations,
Cedric.
Cool, nice one. I don't know Cedric. I don't know Cedric, but Cedric, please get in touch with me on our Discord server, and I'll put you in contact with Roman and the team so you can have your prize redeemed, basically. And that's how I think how it's said, right? It's redeemed. Not too sure. Maybe it's not. But anyway, thank you so much, Cedric, for playing along. And I'll be waiting for your message. Okay, I'm not sure if you're still on the chat or not, but if you're not, hopefully you'll see this afterwards. And please get in touch with me so I'll put you in contact with Kintools team. Roman, once again, thank you so much for coming in. It was great. Guys, thank you once again for everything. Roman, please stay on so we can have our final chat. By the way, guys, actually, it's a good thing to mention now. I don't know exactly when we will have the next live because I'm trying to finish the things that I've been showing lately. But it's probably will be in a couple of weeks, okay? But I'm not too sure. So if it's not in a couple of weeks, it will be somewhere like that, in that kind of schedule, but not for sure in terms of the date at the moment, okay? So, guys, once again, bye-bye, and see you soon. Roman, stay on, yeah? Bye!